Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be chatting all things makeup brushes. So if you have, let's say, bought a set of makeup brushes and you have no idea what to do with each of them, then this video is for you. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Okay guys, one of the things that I like to do here on my channel is to hit up some of the most commonly asked questions. The questions that I get as a makeup artist the most frequently are about brushes. So yes, we have like techniques on makeup that people want to know about, but when you buy brushes, there are so many brushes on the market, and a lot of times when you get, let's say, a kit or a set of brushes, it can be a little bit overwhelming. There's typically brushes that most people don't have any idea what to use them for. So let's go ahead and I'm going to break down the brushes, the types of brushes, and what we use them for. Let's jump in. Okay guys, so the more dense the brush, like this, the more product that is going to be packed on. So a brush like these, I typically will use these for creams or liquids. So these are my bigger brushes, and I'm going to show you exactly what I use each of these for. But even the smaller eye brushes, see how they are very dense? Let me see if it's focusing. It's trying to focus in on my face. Okay, so this is an extremely dense brush. There we go. These are the brushes that I will typically reach for something, a product that I want to be super pigmented on the face, that I really need to make sure it's packed in, because when you get into fluffier brushes like this, sorry, I thought my kid was choking. That's why I got really quiet for a second. Anyway, okay, these brushes that are more, the fluffier the brush, the more dispersed the product will be. Okay, so these are brushes that I typically will use a powder on. This may be more, this could really go either way. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick rundown. Let's start off with foundation. I will be sure to link all of the brushes that I use in the description box below. Believe it or not, the majority of these came from just a few sets. So I got a couple of them for Christmas and I loved it, and then bought another one, and then a few are just ones that I've kept throughout the years. So this came in an IT Cosmetics, actually IT Brushes set, and I love them. So this and these two brushes and this brush and then this powdered brush here all came in a set, and they are the best. Okay, I use this to apply my foundation. It's more of a flat top. It's super dense, and it helps the foundation go along my face so nice and evenly. Now, back in the day, these brushes, I just grabbed this from my kit because it comes in a set, used to be the foundation brushes that you use. I hate them. Hate them. So you can use them for concealer, but I just feel like this, a flat brush like this, just typically leaves a lot of streaks. So the more dense the brush, the more product that is going to be packed on. So, but this brush is fantastic for foundation because it's a little bit bigger. I mean, you're not going to use something this wide or this big for really anything else unless you wanted to cover a large area with concealer. But I stick to these for foundation, or even something like this that is a flat top brush like so. Okay, moving along. So these that came in that set are brushes that I like to use for concealer. Now this is, I'm going to just compare it to the foundation brush in size. This is something that I use to cover a larger area right here of concealer. But these two can really get in the nooks and crannies. This larger one right here could be used for shadow, but I just tend to use them for creams because they're more compact and they're more dense. And then moving along, still on the same topic of the dense brushes, these brushes are brushes that I use again for liquids and creams. You have seen this brush in my videos. I love this for a contour. So this gets right in that area. Now, a lot of people look at a fan brush like this and they're like, what in the world is this used for? I would never really use a powder on this unless I needed something super intense on someone's face. Then I would take a powder, but it would be like stamping and wiggling. But honestly, I like the dense brushes for cream or liquid products. Now this that I just showed for a foundation, this is actually a foundation brush, but as you can see, I've been using this for my cream blushes, and it is beautiful. It blends out so nicely for the blushes. Now, the cream blushes are all the rage this season, so I really recommend something like this. But again, any liquid or cream this is great for. You could even use this for a cream contour or cream bronzer. So let's go over these real quick. Foundation, or blush. So all of these, where they are super dense, are used for creams and liquids. Okay, let's move on. Okay, this is an F33. I'm assuming that's for the face, and that's exactly what I use this for. I think a lot of people would see a brush like this and I say F33, it's from a ColourPop set. I'll include that below, but the reason I said that is F is for face. But a lot of people would see something like this and assume it's for the eye. Well, if you put eyeshadow on a brush that large, and it is pretty large because let me compare it for you. That's a large blending brush right here, the dark one. So if you use something this large on your eyelid, you are going to get product everywhere. What I use a brush this size and this fluffy for is for applying powder right underneath the eye. Okay, so anything super fluffy is going to disperse product in a larger area. So that is why I use that. Now, moving on, I'm going to go ahead and hit all the face brushes and then we'll work specifically with eyes. I use this for a blush. This is a powder brush, so it can be used for powder all over the face or it can be used for blush. Same with this, a powder brush. Well, this is designed for powder. I actually use it for a fluffy bronzer, but it is designed for a powder all over the face. See how this is angled? This is angled because this is a bronzer blush. A bronzer brush for your contour shades. So it's angled to go right in that cheekbone and along the perimeters of your face area. So that's the point of that angle. So that's exactly what this is for. Now these brushes here, these are great for powders under your eye, T-zone, or you can use it for blush. I typically like a fluffier brush for my blush. Okay, and I have this massive guy here. You don't need something like this. I rarely use it because it is so large. I will use it to set all over the face. Okay, let's jump into the eye portion of this. So if I'm going to say, oh my gosh, there's a specific brush that you need, it will be this blending brush from Morphe. Now there's several that are around the same size. Let me show you. A brush like this is what is going to get your eyeshadow looking so good in that crease. So a fluffy brush is excellent for eyeshadow, especially in the crease area. So these brushes, this is a Morphe 535. This is a Morphe 518. You can see both very similar, but these fluffy brushes, and this is honestly, I think this is a Real Techniques brush, but these brushes like so are used to blend out shadow in the crease. So you'll see here, these are the brushes that I would use for a crease. This one, maybe not so much. I'll show that in a second. But as you can see, they're super fluffy. That means that the product is going to cover a larger area. So the colors that I would be using on these are the colors that I would want in my crease. So we're thinking super neutral, something that you don't want to be packed on. That's what you would use these brushes for. Now, speaking of packed on, this, you can see, I use this on a client, so I have not cleaned it since, but these two brushes are a little bit more dense. So they're probably a combination between the first brushes that I talked about for creams and liquids and the fluffy brush that I just showed. So I feel like these could go either way. You could use these guys for applying a cream to your eyelid, a primer, or whatever, or you could take a brush like this, and this is where I would use a more bolder shadow, like you can see here, I used more of a cranberry on this, and apply it to that small area of the eye because it's more dense, so it's going to give you more product. It's going to apply that product in a more compact manner. So your product's not going to go on wide with a fluffy brush like this. It's going to be packed on a little bit more dense. So moving on with that, these are the brushes like so. And I think these are probably both the same that I would use to pack product on my lid. Now, lately, I've honestly been using my finger, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about what these brushes are for. So these are great for getting more specific areas. So let's say you want to take a shimmer and pack it on the lid. This is what you're going to use that for, pack it on. Or to run a shadow along that bottom lash line. This is what you want to use this for. This brush is also excellent for applying concealer. I would probably consider this a concealer brush. So for a client, I use concealer brushes because I don't like to go in on their face with a product that I'm going to, a wand from a concealer. So I'll pop it on the back of my hand, boom, and place it on here. If you have product that needs to be squeezed out, this is the brush for you if you want to use a brush and not your finger. Okay, next up, angled brushes. Now, I actually get a lot of questions about what these are for. These are great if you want to use a powder product on your brows. So you would use this, apply it in that powder, and then fill in your brows. Or what I use them for is powdered eyeliner. So you can use this with like a cream pot of liner, or I apply my liner as powder to my lid, and I use an angled brush just like these. So moving on, these two brushes are great for taking, let's say, like a neutral brown or a bronzer or something and running them along your bottom lash line. This is going to give you a very dense color. This is perfect for that. So I try to keep these in the neutral family, but I use these for shades that are more in the neutral family because they are a little bit dense. So it's going to give you, again, more color payoff, and I run that along that line. Okay, so this, you're always going to see this in an eye set typically. That's an angled brush. This is also great for going in on that crease. Now, it's not made like this. This is more for, I use these just to put it all out there. I use these to use a neutral shade on my brow bone. When I say brow bone, I mean here. That doesn't mean you take the color all the way up here. create a transition shade that I put down on the lid. And then this would be like something that you would use, those a little bit darker shade, same as this. Okay, it's just a bigger brush. Okay, and lastly, the brushes that I'm going to show today are my fan brushes. So these brushes are used to apply highlighter. So this is a pretty large, fluffy highlighter brush. So I wouldn't be using something, again, it's same method. So these are fluffy, this is fluffy as something like this is. So your product's gonna go over more area, and of course it's way larger than this. So let's say that I have like a powder that has a little bit of shimmer that's milled into it, and I want to give a little bit of a glow, but not a crazy highlight. I'll tap that into that powder, tap it off, and then just kind of run it along the cheeks, sometimes even the top, and that's it. Now for something like this, you can do more of a pop and just barely place it there on the tip of the nose and over the Cupid's bow. So that is what I use those for. Okay guys, I tried to hold your attention and go through those as quick as I possibly could, but this is a rundown on these brushes. So remember, the more dense the brush, the more product that is going to be dispersed on your face. The more fluffy the brush, the more widely dispersed it is. So if you're really wanting to pack on a product, or you're wanting to use a cream or a liquid, reach for the more dense brushes. And as always, I recommend a flat top brush for your foundation. Those are my favorite, and Morphe makes an excellent flat top brush. And then of course, the more fluffy, those are used more for powders, eyeshadows, and all of that. So I hope this video helps. If you have any questions at all, please let me know in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm a new channel, so every subscription to my channel really helps. That gives me more of a desire to push content out because I know that you're enjoying it. All right, guys, have a great day.